This episode is sponsored by the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. August's featured entertainment includes Low Cash on the 2nd, Dogstar on the 9th, and Fortune Feimster on the 10th. Details and tickets on HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Movie star and musician Keanu Reeves is bringing his alternative band Dogstar to rock the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia this Friday, their latest gig since reuniting last fall after a 2-decade hiatus. I spoke with the band's drummer Rob Mailhouse about his early days in DC at American and Catholic universities, before meeting Keanu Reeves at an LA grocery store in 1991, and the rest is history. Hey, Rob Mailhouse, hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, DC.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and it's an honor to be here. And honestly, I love DC. I went to school there, from there, back and forth. My parents live there. it's just such an important place for me, and the band and just everything. I'm just so happy to be here.
I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to go into some of your local connections in a second, but I have to tease the reason we're talking first is because your band Dogstar is going to be coming to the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia this Friday, August 9th. And yeah, I know that's West Virginia, but as you know, the whole DC, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, it's all in driving distance. There's lots of folks that listen and head out just over the border to Charlestown, baby.
That's right, Charlestown.
Do you remember going there when you lived here?
I do remember. I remember it's George Washington's brother.
Oh, is it really?
Charles Washington.
That's what it's named after? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the Happy Retreat. I always thought that was a great name for a house. I always wanted to make a record and call it the Happy Retreat. And we did have an album called Happy Ending. But yeah, no, it's so close. Yeah, all the Harper's Ferry used to bomb around all that territory when I was in college. And you're right. That just the whole area, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, that just the whole part of that country to me is so important and so much fun. And especially the history of music, besides the obvious history that's there, but just all the great, cool bands that have come out of that area. And it's just such a great place to go to school, and a thriving music scene. Fugazi, or you name it, or the whole, the 930 Club, and all around that area. And just, oh man, I just had such a great time there. And I love when I lived there, I did all the time. I would get on a motorbike and just bomb out to Virginia and West Virginia. My stepsister's husband was from West Virginia, so we went out there quite a bit. And it's just a blast, that area, having a great time.
So much history, not only national history, but music, like you're saying. So many great bands. So wait, remind us specifically when and whereabouts did you live? I know because you were born in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, see, I was born in New Haven, Connecticut, and my mom, she remarried and moved to Georgetown, and sort of lured us, or you got to come here. It's a great place to go to. I was young at the time. I was still in high school, so I visited quite a bit, and that's where I started to really get into the music scene down there, because it was just so much different than the Northeast. All these different kind of sort of post-punky sort of sounds, and then the whole new wave thing was happening at the time, and that whole area where there was all the radio. And Howard Stern was still there, and it was just it was just a real sort of thriving sort of music scene, and I got to go to all the clubs, and especially the 930 Club and around there, and Howard Theater, and which we just played there in the fall. What a great place that is.
Yeah, I think they renovated it and kept the history alive. It's great.
It was incredible, walking through there and just seeing all the Duke Ellington and all the great artists, and all the great blues and jazz artists that played in that. It really felt special, and all the people that worked there is unbelievable too. So so then I sort of lured down there and went to school down there, and got my BFA down there, and then I just
wait, where'd you go to school?
Well, first I went to America. I was in Colorado College. I went to American University for a bit because I was wanted to do theater and music. So
In DC?
someone,
That's where I got my master's in film, baby.
you did. That's
Yeah,
great.
AU.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And then, then I wanted to do music and theater, and someone told me that, CU, Catholic U, had a great theater program. So I ended up going over there and sort of getting my BFA there. But I played so much music at American University. They had that great music section with all those pianos. So at night I'd go out to have fun in the bars, and I'd always drive to the campus of American University and go down and just play piano until the wee hours of the morning until they kicked me out. So I have really good memories of that place.
Was it the Katzen Art Center back then, or did it have a different name? Do you remember?
That the beautiful art center that's there now, that wasn't there.
Right.
Because I went there in 1860. No, that wasn't there. So it was sort of down below. There was a whole nother the smaller music section there, but yeah, no, that, oh my goodness. I went back for an art show, from William Woodard's art show there, and I went to that whole new area, and I ended up going back and seeing all the grand pianos in the room, and yeah, so that whole, my mom lived in Bethesda for many, many years. So,
oh, okay.
But we're excited about West Virginia. I mean, this tour is so interesting because we're doing, it's sort of Keanu. He's like, I want to go out in the summer, but we have this record. We have this new record that we have that's out, and then we have 12 new songs that we're done with, and we were going to record them like really soon because we're ready to do the next record. And Keanu was like, "It's summer. I want to go play more." And so everyone's like, "All right, well, where are we going to go?" We just went around the country a couple times. And so we were looking at the map, and we have great managers and Q Prime and Waymore, all these great people that help us out. And they're like, look at these areas of the country, and we want to go there, And it's just, we love playing anywhere. I think that's the thing. We just love playing anywhere, we'll play anywhere. And it's just, a lot of bands sort of skirt around and do certain things, but I found that, some of our most fun shows have been in the Midwest, have been in the South, have been in areas where I guess some artists might just fly over. We don't. We want to parachute in anywhere and play. And a lot of these venues are beautiful and historic. And I just can't wait. I just can't wait for this tour. Looking at all these places we're going, to me, this is like really exciting. So we're really anxious to get out.
Oh yeah, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races is a really cool spot, and I'm not just saying that, folks, because they have been sponsoring this podcast the last
Nice.
couple of years. We used to go. Seriously, I've been to many comedy shows and the like out there, not to mention just play the slots and everything. Like my whole life, I grew up in Frederick, Maryland, so not far from where you grew up.
Oh, nice.
And actually, that's where we're talking to you from now, in my little remote studio. The TOP station, I still go in there every week too, but that's down not far from where you were at AU. Well, we used to be over by the National Cathedral, so that was near AU in Tenleytown. Then we moved up to, do you know where the Friendship Heights Metro is? That's where the building is now.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly. My mom did the sculpture for the Francis Scott Key Memorial Park by the Key Bridge there.
Are you? No way. You kidding me?
That's my mom's sculpture.
Yep.
But the reason why I mentioned that, because A, I'm proud of it, and B, there's sort of a music connection to that story. Because I was in college at the time, and well, actually, I wasn't. It was before college. But when John Lennon was murdered, the whole world was just in this sorrow, and my mom was doing this sculpture. And I asked her, I said, "Mom, could you do a little bust of John Lennon?" And she's like, "Sure, absolutely." So she was in between gigs, and she started this head of John Lennon from the Beatles' White Album, That Look. Yeah. And I came home from school one day. Actually, I was at CU, and she goes, "I have some really bad news, and I have good news and bad news." And she goes, "Bad news is, and the good news is, I got this commission to do this Francis Scott Key sculpture, and the bad news is, he kind of looks like John Lennon, so I'm gonna put the clay over him and make John Lennon Francis Scott Key." So underneath that sculpture that's there on, at Francis Scott Key Park, is actually underneath there is John Lennon's bust. So
are you kidding me? So it was kind of designed around and changed to be FSK?
They kind of have the same nose. So my mom was like, "I'm not going to take this John Lennon down." And then eventually, the good news is she, years before she passed, she did end up making me a beautiful, smaller version of a gorgeous John Lennon sculpture, which I bronzed, which I have now.
That
So
is
yeah, I helped her
hilarious.
make the cape for that sculpture too,
That's
that key sculpture. And
amazing. You can sing, the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, in the sky with diamonds.
and imagine
In
when you're drunk coming down the Exorcist stairs, just
There you
keep
go.
going and you'll run into my mom's sculptures.
I did not advise being drunk going down the extra stairs because that is steep. That is steep.
Those are steep stairs.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's fantastic. Well, my only way to segue that back is The Exorcist is a movie, and there's a movie star in this band, my friend. You've dropped the name Keanu, and I want to let everyone know that this is not the Key and Peele Keanu Cat movie. This is Keanu Reeves, the Keanu Reeves, along with you on drums and Brett. It's Brett Domros.
Yep, Brett Tomros. Yeah.
On guitar and vocals, and I guess Keanu is the bassist. So remind us how the three of you crazy kids got together back in LA in '91.
It's funny. Like I met Keanu. I lived in this place called Beechwood Canyon at the time, and I was just going grocery shopping. I had a hockey jersey on, and he was there, I guess, buying a banana or something. And he came up to me and he said, "Do you play hockey?" And I was like, "I do." And he goes, "I'm a goalie." So I know, had this.
It wasn't do you know kung fu? It was do you play hockey?
Yeah. Do you watch gladiator movies? No. So I said yes.
Now you're doing airplanes. Great.
So we ended up playing hockey together at every Tuesday and Thursday in Burbank at this pickup, and then I went to his house and he had all this gear set up like drums and bass and guitar in his garage, and then we just I'm mostly a piano player, but I sort of transitioned over to the drums, and just in our free times and nights, summer nights, we would just bang away, and we both had the love of that sort of British post-punk Manchester sound, that kind of post-punk 80s stuff, and
yeah,
we just sort of started, and it just sort of came together in a couple of iterations. Then Brett joined in '95 or '4 rather, and we just stuck together and had a little run and stopped and took a break and grew up a bit and just wanted to come back and complete something that we felt was incomplete. We just felt we had something more to say, and this time around it's so much different. Keanu's very involved in writing and the verses and the melodies, and he's such a good bass player, and Brett's adjusted and he's different, and he's filling in his sonic guitar sounds around Keanu's melodies and bass hooks, and it's just a different sound. Honestly, it's a different band. I mean, we could have just called ourselves another band; it would have been fine. But I'm just so proud of like us, just sort of hanging out and kind of fulfilling what we had inside. And it's people out there that are listening that just stick with what you believe and don't give up, and it doesn't matter. Just keep following your heart, and good things can come from it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I'd love to at least go into a little bit into the three albums that y'all have dropped. But I guess before that, where does Dogstar come from? What's in the name? Back, I guess when you formed this thing in '91, I guess that's the year of Point Break and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So that's what Keanu's doing, and then you meet him. And so how do you form what's Dogstar?
I was doing a show. I was on a soap at the time, and I was kind of miserable doing that. And
is it Days of Our Lives?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but I was always wanted to be a musician. And Keanu, to me, when I first met him, I'm like, wow, you're a musician, and all his friends were musicians. So we didn't, you can't really see the future of what's going to happen to people's lives and careers. But at the time, that's sort of the path. And then, of course, his path went, stratospheric into a different area. But he always would keep the bass going. He was always playing music.
Yeah.
And Brett, same way. Whatever he does in his life, other things, he's a professional musician. He's always playing, constantly working on guitar and skills and playing in bands with friends. But yeah, at the time, I don't know. I was reading a book, a Henry Miller book, and I just saw the word Dogstar in a sentence. He was talking about it, and I didn't at the time. We had a gig, and we didn't have a name, so I just thought, "What about Dogstar?" And Ken was like, "Oh, that sounds fine."
Oh, that's great. Hey, it's a catchy name. It worked. So whatever caused you to pick it, it paid off, baby. That's fantastic. And then all right, so then I'm trying to think. So then before we even get then I guess right leading up to that Our Little Visionary in 96, which was y'all's first album, at least studio that you released. So you're playing a couple years there. So you're doing Days of Our Lives and what I think you were even on Seinfeld. What was the Seinfeld episode again?
I think it was called The Beard.
Oh, you were in the
Yeah.
beard. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a lot of guest star work and stuff back in the
Yeah,
day. I was hopping around on different shows
yeah,
and it was a lot of fun, you know. Yeah. It's just,
yeah,
it was a good time to be that, you know, and the business then was great. You know, there's a lot of live shows and it
yeah,
just was, it seemed like a different era, a different time, but
it
I
totally is.
really enjoyed that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and you and
But
Keanu were both together in Speed in '94, which is when Brett joins Dogstar. So it's all sort of this is all sort of popping at all at the same time.
I know that's so true. Yeah, I'll never, yeah, that was the Halloween night. We shot that scene in the elevator. I'll never forget that. And yeah, so it's been good. Like we've had it's been like Dogstar's been like a very healthy sort of it's not a hobby. It's more intense than that. You know, it's we work so hard, we put in so many hours, you know, it's we probably, you know, other bands like, guys, you rehearse way more than we do. Like my friends in the Strokes, they're like, hey, you guys play way more than we do. So we're really, you know, we have something this time around, it's a little different. So, you know, we have this new album, you know, somewhere between the Palm Trees and Power Lines and
Yeah.
or Power Lines and Palm Trees. And then we're all next album is ready to go. We just need to record it. But we're gonna be playing some of the new songs on this tour, this summer tour, you know. So when we're in West Virginia, we'll probably play 4 or 5 songs from a record we haven't even recorded yet. So we're excited about that. People hear some new stuff.
I absolutely love that. So wait, so which songs, and you don't have to tease the whole set list if you don't, but which songs might we hear from Our Little Visionary from '96 and Happy Ending from 2000? Before, like, do you pepper in any of those of the first two albums?
You know, we haven't been playing hardly anything from
Yeah.
those albums. We've been playing the whole new album
Awesome.
and then new songs that we've written on the road. I
Okay.
know that's crazy, but we took such a long break and the band is so different now.
Yeah.
We try to rehearse a lot of those older songs and we're like, who is that band? We're like,
It's like you're like reintroducing everybody like 20 years later. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like going to a high school reunion. You're like, I don't remember you. And
Well, I got
she's
some new
like,
stuff. You want to hear it?
and she's like, you don't
Yeah.
remember? We dated. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right,
Oh
Carol.
yeah, you were
Yeah.
Dogstar or something. Rob
No,
Mailhouse. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, but we,
Yeah.
you know, for the we do.
Yeah.
There's a couple that we're flirting with, and there's just
Right.
that we're trying to play with. But we're working
Yeah.
on some covers too, because
Cool.
the audience. I mean, the fans have been so amazing. We have the best fans. In Europe was a trip. I mean, I did not expect that kind of reception. You know,
Yeah.
and also here in America, it's been incredible. So we were doing a Cure cover and we may do a Morrissey cover or a Smith cover or a Morrissey cover, and then we may do a Cracker. We're like working on all these different kind of ideas about adding a couple of covers in there. You know, there is one song cover that we put on out on a record, the Carpenters Superstar, that we
Oh my
rehearsed
gosh.
last week, sort of like a hippie hoppy kind of version that we put on that record, and we were flirting with the idea of maybe playing that one too.
Yeah.
So
Like a don't you remember you told me?
yeah, yeah,
I can't think of
yeah.
that without thinking of Chris Farley and David Spade and Tommy Boy singing that at the top of their
Oh my God.
Oh
You know,
man,
she
it's
was a
great.
great drummer. People don't realize that. Like
Yeah.
she was like, if you go on YouTube and people that are listening and watch her drum, like it's incredible.
Oh, Karen Carpenter
I
and one of the
understand, like,
greatest voices of all time, undisputed.
oh,
Gone
so
too soon.
beautiful.
But by the way, from New Haven, where you're from.
That's right. She's a Connecticut. But I was like, when I first, yeah, she started out kind of on the drums and she was
Yeah.
drumming away and it's just phenomenal to watch her go. And then, yeah,
Uh,
she was really wonderful, man. Oh,
that's
so
great.
cool.
By the way, I just got off the phone with Emily from Indigo Girls. She was also from New Haven. It must be like a New Haven kind of day. All you New
Wow.
Haven
Did she
people.
talk about pizza?
Yes, but what is it? Pepe's Pizza or something?
Yeah.
That's
Sally's
hilarious.
Puppies. modern. They're all
Exactly. All right, cool. So it's mostly the set list then, just to round it out and tease the show. So it's mostly stuff from the 2023 album, somewhere between the Power Lines and Palm Trees, as well as the handful or dozen new songs that you're still working on now.
yeah. We're definitely going to throw in like maybe 5 or 6 new songs, and they're like a little faster, a little harder, and a little more. Yeah. So Keanu's been on a tear. He's just been coming up with all these crazy big, really cool like bass hooks, and very much kind of like a Peter Hook Joy Division-y kind of
Nice.
fun bass hooks. So he's keeping us really busy.
What makes Keanu such a great bass player, and what makes Brett so great on lead and guitar?
Keanu's really good at listening. He's just really full of melody. He has a lot of melody in him. It's incredible. It's just so melodic. And Brett's very tasteful. He's a good listener, and he has really good style, and he's very skilled. So he can sort of play any genre. You just sort of throw at him. He can play the Cars, the Cure, or he can play the Plimsouls. I mean, if you just throw out an idea, so he gets the decades, and then he has a good sonic rig too, because there's only 3 of us, so he has 2 amps and plays in stereo, so he really fills in the sound. I think before, in the old days, we would sort of bash out a song, in the '90s, and we'd all sort of be bashing away. Now I think we listen to each other more, and there's a little more space and a little more communication. And for me as a drummer, I just sort of hang my hat around the vocal and sort of just listen and fill in. Keanu's so full of melody that I can just sort of hang out around him. It's so funny because he'll say, "I follow you," and I go, "I follow you." Like, well, what the hell?
Who's following who? Who's leading?
It's funny because I guess that's the whole point of playing together. You're like,
yeah.
He comes once that happens, then you get locked in this zone, and you don't know who's doing what. But that's the whole beauty of playing. When you get to that zone.
Why, it's all a piece. You can't pluck one member out. You need all 3 of you because you're all following each other. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's
Well,
true.
I always love to leave the interview with something I don't want to call it homework. That sounds like hard work, but something fun as they prepare to go buy tickets to see you in West Virginia on this Friday, August 9th. Throw out, is there like a track or two from Power Lines and Palm Trees that they should check out? Or if you want to tease one of the new ones, I don't know if it's how ready they are to tease, but it's up to you. Like, is there a song or two they should search on their Spotify or whatever?
I really love the song. I love Glimmer, and I love Dillon Street, and I love Blonde. I mean, those 3 songs really stick with me a lot. Glimmer is very moody. It's sort of got like a David Gilmour-y, Pink Floyd-y guitar tone through it all, but it's just a beautiful song, and Brett wrote some beautiful lyrics there, and it's just got a nice atmosphere. And Dillon Street's a good song. I don't know. Those 3 songs are, for me, I really, when they come up on the set list, I really love playing them.
Love it. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. There's a perfect teaser of some stuff. So basically just pick up that whole last album and jam out to that as you drive from DC or Maryland or Virginia to West Virginia. That'll keep you company during your commute.
I know. I'm so excited to travel through there. My sister lives in Matthews, Virginia, so
cool.
yeah. So I'll get to a lot of friends in that area, and we're going to play Raleigh and all that area through down south there. But yeah, I'm really excited because I've never been to this venue, so we're really excited. Dogstar hasn't been to this venue. Yeah,
Matthews is down along the Chesapeake, right? Like, it's on the other side, so that she can.
Yeah, she's right on the water.
Wow, that's great. Well, from the water to the mountains of Charlestown, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Other than your sister, I mean, is there a lot of family or friends that come out when you come back to this general area, or have you been out west so long?
Yeah, Connecticut is crazy. When we play there, we up through there, and it's Toad's Place or Foxwoods. But yeah, I have a lot of friends that I haven't seen since high school and way back when. Yeah, so they all come out, and Keanu and Brett have friends throughout everywhere, and it's been really just we're really blessed. We really feel lucky, that to be able to do this, and we don't take it for granted. Like, we know it's crazy out there, and we're just so happy to be able to just travel and we feel really strongly about it. These songs. I mean, it's great to share them with people and see them having so much fun. It just sort of we just feed off of that.
Yeah.
And it's helped us out as people. And hopefully we can, come up with some different this type of music. It's not normal, and the way the music scene is today. There's not a lot of it's different than it was in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and so I think people are really responding to like, oh, guitar, bass, drums. Wow, they're responding to that, and I notice more kids are picking up guitars now, and
yeah,
I've noticed that, and so maybe something's going on. There's in the world of pop music, it's refreshing to hear some rock and roll once in a while.
Absolutely.
And I like
I
pop
pine
music
for
too.
the days of rock and roll.
Yeah,
Come on back. Bringing it. Dogstar is bringing it back at the Hollywood Casino.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all the local ties. The hometown, it gives me a little hometown hero angle. So all you AU alum better get your butts out there to see him. Rob Mailhouse. And I promised the Hollywood Casino folks I was going to keep this mostly about the music, and I think we did that. So, but final seconds, favorite Keanu role: Speed, Matrix, John Wick. What's your personal favorite?
Um. Uh. Oh man, I
Point
don't
Break.
know. I
There's
I
so
like
many.
I like River's Edge. I like it. I like those movies when it's yeah. I think I like the River's Edge. I think there's so many. There's so many good ones. You
It's
know.
really an impossible question, so it's okay.
And I know him so well. I've known him, so long. So it's harder for me to see, when you look and you see your friend creating something different. You know so much about them. So it really makes it harder, to personalize the performance because you just need someone so well, and then you're just blown away when you see a side of them that you don't see in their personal life.
Well,
And you're
your
like,
answer could have been my favorite role was Keanu, the bass player. There you go.
that's not a role though. He's real. He's really that's like a real deal right there. So it's funny, he's
Yeah,
not acting.
yeah.
He's a real deal there.
This is the real deal on stage, baby.
But you know what it is? There's nothing really fake. You good actors like that,
Yeah.
you notice that about like Daniel Day-Lewis. Like they don't even know what fake is. They just
They become.
yeah.
You're saying it's method. He was bending spoons with his mind in real life before.
And I think that's that kind of cool thing with Keanu. I've noticed in his career and his shift, he has become more like that, like becoming those things, and that's just the maturity of an artist, and that works in any art form, whether you're a painter,
Your
the
mom
good
doing
things.
busts of Lenin and FSK, whatever disciplines.
Yeah. So
No, that's great. Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing how many actors have come through our area, Birchmere or whatever, like Kevin Bacon or Kiefer Sutherland or Kevin Costner, or Billy Bob Thornton. They bring their bands, and it's incredible. The music, like I'm telling you, listeners, you think oh, Keanu's coming to town. Well, let's go see him. It's way more than that, man. It is Dogstar. So I really appreciate you joining us, Rob.
yeah, thank you. That's so kind of you to say that. Thank you.
Thank you for taking so much. What we've done, I didn't know we go like a half hour. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, that's okay. It was nice talking to you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we'll invite everyone out August 9th, this Friday, Hollywood Casino, Charlestown Races, West Virginia, Dogstar. Be there, everybody. Thanks, Rob.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.